History is supposed to be quiet. It lives in the hushed corridors of museums, in the silent script of crumbling texts, in the dignified ruin of a column standing stark against the sky. We've grown comfortable with its distance, the respectful silence of centuries that separates us from the dead. But what if history suddenly decided to stop whispering and started to scream? What if a city, utterly erased from memory and map, simply reappeared, not as a ruin, but as a breath held for 2,000 years, suddenly exhaled into our modern world? The rediscovery of the lost Roman city of Lucernia is not merely the greatest archaeological find of our century. It is a profound and unsettling mirror held up to our present, forcing us to confront the fragility of our own civilization, the fallibility of our historical record, and the enduring, tangible power of a past we naively thought was gone for good. The shock of a world intact. The first and most jarring truth of Lucernia is its unnerving completeness. This is the central claim that elevates it beyond any other discovery. Its significance lies not in its existence as another set of Roman ruins, but in a state of preservation so perfect it feels like a violation of the laws of time. It transforms abstract history into a visceral, deeply personal, and frankly spooky experience. We have, of course, seen preserved Roman sites before. We have Pompeii and Herculaneum frozen in a moment of terror by Vesuvius. We marvel at their frescoes and their excavated forms, but even they are relics of a catastrophe. They are cities scarred, burned and choked by ash. They are magnificent, but they are undeniably dead. Lucernia is different. Imagine walking into a bakery where loaves of bread carbonized, yes, but perfectly shaped still sit on the cooling rack, not scattered in the chaos of an eruption, but placed there, methodically, by a baker who expected to sell them in the morning. Imagine stepping into a lararium, a household shrine, where the delicate garlands of dried flowers laid as offerings have left their ghostly imprints in the dust, and the small bronze Lares, the guardian deities, are still polished as if from a recent cleaning. The evidence from the initial excavation is a litany of temporal impossibilities. In the scriptor's shop on the Via Argente, scrolls of papyrus are unreadably fused but still stacked neatly in their cubbyholes. In a wealthy domus, a mosaic of a hunting scene isn't just intact. Its colors, the deep lapis of the sky, the startling crimson of a rider's cloak, are so vibrant they look wet. This isn't the muted, sun-bleached palette of antiquity we're used to. It feels as if the artists just packed up their tools. You can almost smell the wet plaster. This level of preservation collapses the comfortable distance of 2 millennia. We are not scholars observing a specimen. We are intruders in someone's home. The experience is less archaeological and more akin to trespassing. It forces you to ask a deeply unsettling question. Where did everybody go? Now a skeptic might reasonably argue, isn't this just hyperbole? Another Pompeii, perhaps better preserved, but fundamentally the same kind of find. This is a fair challenge, but it misses the crucial distinction. Pompeii was a known tragedy, an event recorded by Pliny the Younger. It was never truly lost, merely buried. Its rediscovery was the confirmation of a known story. Lucernia, however, appears in no surviving text. No map bears its name. No historian speaks of its existence or its disappearance. It was not simply buried, it was erased from the human story. Furthermore, the agent of its preservation was not the violent, incinerating ash of a volcano. Initial geological surveys suggest the city was entombed by a single, colossal, and almost instantaneous mudslide or pyroclastic flow, a terra tsunami that didn't burn or crush, but rather filled the city like a mold, from the cellars up, in a matter of hours. This anoxic, stable environment is what preserved organic materials, wood, fabric, leather to an extent we've never seen before. So no, this isn't another Pompeii. Pompeii is a famous story with a dramatic ending. Lucernia is a ghost story, whose first chapter we have only just opened. The digital seance, seeing through the earth, that's ghost story could not have been told without a new kind of magic. The discovery of Lucernia is a stunning testament to how modern technology is fundamentally changing our relationship with the past, allowing us to see through the very earth and find stories we weren't even aware we were missing. The age of the swashbuckling archaeologist, guided by a tattered map and a lucky hunch, is over. The new pioneer is a data scientist staring at a screen. The central claim here is that technology has shifted the nature of discovery from a physical act to a digital revelation, creating a new and profound form of archaeological inquiry. The moment of discovery for Lucernia wasn't a shovel striking a mosaic floor. It was a quiet ping in a lab hundreds of miles away. For years, geological surveyors had been using advanced ground-penetrating radar (GPR) and LiDAR light detection and ranging to map subterranean water tables in a remote, seemingly unremarkable valley in the Eastern Alps. The data was meant for agricultural planning. But a young analyst, Dr. Aris Thorne, noticed an anomaly, a persistent, impossibly geometric grid pattern deep beneath the soil. It wasn't natural. It was too perfect, too ordered. Think about that for a moment. He wasn't looking at ruins. He was looking at data microwaves bouncing off buried structures, laser pulses painting a topographical map of a surface that hadn't seen sunlight in 2,000 years. On his screen, a ghost city slowly rendered itself in pixels of blue and green. He could trace the outline of a forum, an amphitheater, the straight, uncompromising lines of Roman roads, all before a single spade of dirt had been turned. This is a digital seance. We are communicating with the spectral form of a city, mapping its skeleton before we have touched its skin. The first breathtaking images were not of unearthed columns, but of these ghostly, glowing grids on a promise of a city, the blueprint of a forgotten world. Of course, there's a counter-argument to be made here, one tinged with a bit of romantic nostalgia. Doesn't this take the soul out of archaeology? Doesn't it replace human intuition and the thrill of the hunt with cold, sterile algorithms? It's an understandable sentiment. We love the image of Indiana Jones brushing dust from a golden idol. But this view is fundamentally mistaken. The technology doesn't replace human intuition. It magnifies it. The LiDAR data is just a cloud of billions of points. The GPR scans are just a confusing series of waves and shadows. It takes a deeply knowledgeable human mind, one steeped in Roman urban planning, history and architecture, to look at that digital noise and see a temple. It takes human curiosity to ask why a city of this size is even there. The technology is a powerful new tool, a new set of eyes, but the brain and the heart behind them remain human. The thrill of the hunt is still present. The hunting ground has just expanded from the physical soil to the infinite landscape of data. It's a new kind of magic, but it is magic nonetheless, tearing up the map, rewriting the story. Perhaps the most intellectually disruptive aspect of Lucernia is where it was found. Its very existence, in a place it simply shouldn't be, forces a radical and uncomfortable revaluation of our accepted knowledge of the Roman Empire, its reach, its adaptability, and its relationship with the so-called barbarian world. This is not about adding a new chapter to the history books. It is about questioning the table of contents itself. The claim is this: Lucernia's location and character challenge the core narrative of a monolithic, centrally controlled Roman civilization, suggesting a far more complex, decentralized, and multicultural reality. The city was not found in the familiar heartlands of Italy or Provence. It was unearthed in a high, isolated valley in the Carnic Alps, a region long considered a remote, sparsely populated frontier, a mere military buffer zone. And Lucernia was no mere military outpost. The scale of the forum, the size of the amphitheater, and the opulence of the discovered villas suggest a thriving commercial and cultural hub of at least 30,000 people. How? Why? The evidence being uncovered is paradigm-shattering. The aqueduct system required to support a city of this size in such a challenging mountain environment is an engineering marvel that rivals those of Rome itself. But more telling are the artifacts. The art is not purely Roman. The mosaics blend classical mythological scenes with depictions of local alpine deities. The pottery uses traditional Roman forms but is decorated with stylistic motifs from Celtic traditions. A discovered ceremonial blade is of classic Roman gladius design but forged with metallurgical techniques unique to the local Noric steel famed throughout the ancient world. This isn't a city where Rome imposed its culture. This is a city where Roman and local cultures met, mingled, and created something new and vibrant. It was a melting pot, a nexus of trade and ideas thriving in a place our maps had marked as empty. The immediate counter-argument from a conservative historian would be to label Lucernia an outlier, a fascinating anomaly, certainly, but one that doesn't fundamentally change the grand narrative of Roman expansion and administration. It's a one-off, they might say, a unique experiment driven by a particularly ambitious governor or a freak geological discovery of precious metals. It doesn't mean our entire model of the frontier is wrong, but this rebuttal is a failure of imagination. In science and history, a single, undeniable outlier is precisely what forces a paradigm shift. One black swan demolishes the theory that all swans are white. One Lucernia proves that our models for Roman settlement are, at best, incomplete and, at worst, fundamentally flawed. It suggests that the edge of the empire was not a hard line but a porous, dynamic zone of immense innovation and cultural exchange. It forces us to ask, if a city of 30,000 could be lost to history in the Alps, what else are we missing? What other anomalies lie beneath the fields of the Balkans, the forests of Germany, or the sands of North Africa? Lucernia doesn't just add a new location to the map, it forces us to concede that our map was drawn with the wrong ink, the echo in the mud. A warning for today. Beyond the historical revelations, there is a darker, more immediate resonance to Lucernia. The mystery of its sudden, silent demise serves as a chilling parable for our own time, reflecting our deepest anxieties about unforeseen catastrophes and the fragility of the complex systems we depend on. To understand Lucernia is not just to celebrate a lost world, but to confront the terrifying manner of its end. The core argument of this final reflection is that the story of Lucernia's burial is a powerful, cautionary tale. The very event that preserved it is a stark reminder of how quickly and completely a civilization can be erased by forces it doesn't understand. As mentioned, the culprit was not a volcano. The geological evidence points to a cataclysmic seismic event in the mountains above the valley. This earthquake likely destabilized a massive rain-saturated mountainside, triggering a landslide of unimaginable scale and speed. It wasn't a flow of lava or ash, but millions of tons of earth, rock, and water moving at hundreds of kilometers per hour. Imagine the final moments, not the dramatic, fiery end of Pompeii, but perhaps something even more terrifying. A low, growing rumble, a shaking ground, and then the sky itself seeming to fall as a wall of earth descends upon the city, snuffing it out in minutes. It did not burn the city, it entombed it. It did not shatter the buildings, it filled them. This is a different kind of horror, quiet, absolute, and suffocating. The Romans were the greatest engineers of their age. They built roads that still exist, aqueducts that still function, and buildings that still stand. Yet, they built a thriving city in a geological death trap, utterly blind to the titanic forces gathering above them. They had conquered the world, but they had not conquered the earth itself. Is it overwrought to see our own reflection in this? I don't think so. We are a civilization of unprecedented technological prowess. We have mapped the human genome. We communicate instantly across the globe. We are reaching for the stars. And yet, we build our gleaming coastal cities ever closer to rising seas. We rely on a global climate system. We are actively destabilizing. We are supremely confident in our systems, just as the Lucerians must have been in their aqueducts and their forums. The story of Lucernia is a 2,000-year-old whisper that says, your cleverness is not a shield. Your complexity is also your vulnerability. Your greatest blind spot may be the one you cannot even conceive of. Some may argue that this is needless fear. Why obsess over their end? The real value is in celebrating their lives, their art, their ingenuity. To that, the rebuttal is simple. Their end is what allows us to see their lives. The two are inextricably linked. The catastrophic event that ended their story is the very reason we can read it today. To ignore the warning embedded in that event is to indulge in a willful, dangerous naivete. History is not always a celebration. Sometimes, its most vital function is to serve as a warning. Lucernia is the most vivid, most beautifully preserved, and most terrifying warning we have ever received. In the end, the rediscovery of Lucernia leaves us breathless, standing before a portal we never knew existed. It is a visceral, tactile connection to the past, a triumph of technology that allows us to see ghosts, a historical bombshell that redraws the boundaries of our knowledge, and a chilling parable for our own precarious times. It affirms our thesis that this is far more than an archaeological dig. It is a mirror. In its preserved streets, we see the texture of a life lived long ago. In the digital scans that revealed it, we see the heights of our own ingenuity. In its location, we see the arrogance of our assumptions. And in its silent, muddy grave, we see a stark reflection of our own fragility. The work at Lucernia will continue for decades. Archaeologists will map every street, catalog every artifact, and analyze every grain of pollen to reconstruct its world. But the true impact of this city will be measured not in the treasures we pull from the ground, but in the questions it forces us to ask ourselves. As we stare into this perfect, silent reflection of a world that vanished in a heartbeat, the real question isn't just who the Lucernians were. It's who we are, now that we know they existed. What do you do with a ghost that has suddenly opened its eyes and is looking straight back at you?
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the latest update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.